Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 8 of Instagram on YouTube, where I share my Instagram posts on YouTube. I know, revolutionary. So if you like this, go ahead and follow me on YouTube or Instagram down below. What is today's video about? Well, I guess today's video is about my experience with the female gender in my 20s. Photo completely unrelated, other than that was when I went to Brazil after West Point. I went to Brazil to take a semester off, Tim Ferriss style, with the mini retirement thing. I just read the 4 Hour Work Week, and I was like, yeah, that's the kind of life I want to live. So let's go to Rio de Janeiro and Florianopolis. There was a guy who was featured in his book, guy who was a lawyer and then started Nexus Surf Company. Turns out he wasn't there when I was there. I was young and naive. I thought I would just show up and beg him for a job, but he wasn't there. And turns out people said he was kind of an asshole. I don't know. I never met him, but life is what it is. And it was during that time too that I first read The Game by Neil Strauss, which kind of piqued my interest with the whole pickup artistry situation, because prior to that, growing up, I really wasn't focused on women or girls at that time. Up through high school, I was just focused on school and sports. And then when I got to West Point, obviously no females there as well. But then I think I just, like, because of the repressed nature of West Point, I was like, because they wouldn't let us party, then I wanted to, even though I didn't even want to in high school. So I understood what it's like to have like really strict parents, because my parents really aren't that strict in that regard. Um, and yeah, then got into a relationship while I was there, and then continued it here in Brazil. But then I started to become more interested in females and female nature, and all that good stuff. So a lot of my 20s, was focused on that in part, among other things. And now here I am at 31, again in a period of my life where I'm really focused on just creating my work and not focused really on women. But life goes in seasons. So what I wanted to share, or what I wrote about, was the fact that when I was younger in my 20s, this is for, I guess, most men, you know and when they're young, they feel this way. Uh, any men who are interested in women, and that's why guys like Andrew Tate are so popular, and Jordan Peterson talks about this too, because women look for the things that women look for in men typically takes time to become, right? Like whether it's success financially, whether it's maturity, knowing what you want, confidence, competence, um, wisdom, leadership, like all this stuff, even like knowledge and communication skills, these all accumulate as you go through life. And so women typically will go for guys who are a little bit older, whereas men look for like different things in women. And so because we have different desires, or what we look for or want to have in a partner, what happens for young men is that no one really finds them attractive, and it's a tough pill to swallow when you're a younger guy. And so when I was, again, in this picture and in my early 20s, I thought it was unfair that like the women my age seemed to have life handed to them, or like they could be the selectors, whereas guys were a little bit younger and less established and less mature, like me, were the ones who were getting rejected. And I thought that was unfair, which, looking back now, those are just my two wounds anyway. So I will look for that in whatever the situation may be, with a sprinkle of humiliation, again, as the guy who gets rejected. So, throughout my 20s, I kind of looked into pickup artistry, as I mentioned, The Game. Also, for a period of time, kind of embraced MAGTOWs, especially as the new age feminism started coming up. I was like, you know what, fuck women. I don't need them. I'm just gonna do my thing and whatever. Um, which again stemmed from the wounds and the rejection that I had experienced. And so I had just basically turned my resentment and my own insufficiencies into like a sort of anger and detachment. Classic. But now I have come to understand that, it's just all in the game, and that we are all, including me as a man and all men, we're all beneficiaries of woman's evolved nature, because we all have an unbroken lineage of female ancestors over hundreds of thousands of years, right? And so the same sexually selective, hypergamous female nature that, humiliated me, rejected me, whatever, is the same nature that allowed my female ancestors, including my mom and everyone, grandmother, all the way down the line, to successfully survive and procreate, which is the result of which is my being alive. So, you know, there's an evolutionary reason for the why they are the way that they are. And, while it is a tough pill to swallow as a young man, um, it's important for me to be aware that I, as a descendant, am a product, or I'm a beneficiary of the way that women have evolved to be. And so, this is not something I understood when I was younger, obviously. And so, as the selectors, women are the guardians of our future. I read about this in my book on romance, how like sexually selective women, again, like I mentioned, are is one of humanity's greatest evolutionary tools to make sure that we're passing along the right genes. And so, yeah, the point of all this is to say that for men, try not to be too salty and or bitter or resentful when things don't go your way, when you get rejected, or whatever it may be, because you win or you learn. And what you're really getting is honest feedback that should be informing you on how you can be better, and just appreciate it for the lesson and the experience that it is, and go back to the drawing board and get better. Essentially, we're all responsible to take the hint, to take the feedback with as much grace and humility as possible, and to maintain an abundance mindset, and to continue to do the work to grow and improve. And at the end of the day, I will say that, um, when it's all said and done, I would prefer personally to be a man, because it is harder for an attractive woman to get what she wants out of a partner than it is for a man. Like I believe that men who are quote unquote high value, but just men who have their life and figured out and their shit figured out, which is not me right now, by the way. My wealth game is lacking. But men who have their health figured out, who have their relationships, who know what they want, who maybe are doing well financially, like those are and who take care of themselves and who are mentally and emotionally sound, are the real scarce resource in the sexual and romantic marketplace. So don't be discouraged. Keep on working on yourself. I really don't like to talk too much about male female dynamics and the romance game, what I coined the romance game, because there's so much controversy out there, and people may not agree with my ideas or whatever, but they're my beliefs and they work for me, and I hope that no one takes anything I say as misogynistic, but you never know, with this day and age, and with splicing and taking things out of context or whatever. So I can only hope for the best. All I just want to say is that, like, I don't. Yeah, there's men and women have different desires and have evolved to be different, and look for different things in partners. And there's no reason to be upset at them for being the way that they are, nor should they really be upset at men for being the way that we are, because again, we're all beneficiaries of the way that our ancestors have evolved to be. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed that. Thankfully, I'm not uh, well known enough to get in trouble for any of these ideas, but who knows, maybe in 10 years someone will uh, fish this out of the archives and I'll have some, you know, explaining to do, maybe, but I don't really think I said anything too controversial here. Anyways, let me know what you think. If you like my Instagram, go ahead and follow it. And as I mentioned before, I am transitioning towards working with high caliber, high integrity, entrepreneurially inclined veterans. So if you know anyone in that category, or if you are that individual, please reach out, connect. I'd love to see what we can do together. All right, that's it. Peace out.